Welcome to part 2 of our incredible two-part series about a family's abduction by a Tic Tac UFO. Be sure to watch part 1 linked in the description below if you haven't already. In the previous episode, Colette and her family were taken by a mysterious craft while sailing among the French Polynesian islands. Now, let's continue with Colette's letter and delve into the astonishing events that unfolded. The alien base was housed within a labyrinth of very large tunnels that opened on communal spaces and a variety of other venues and living quarters. The colony was adorned with a remarkable array of trees and other natural features that thrived in an environment illuminated by concealed lighting reminiscent of the soft glow found within the cabin of a modern passenger jet. Every aspect of this subterranean colony bore the same characteristic material, an off-white, almost pink substance with a matte surface. Organic, flowing lines seemed to define every structure and piece of furniture, creating an atmosphere that was both enchanting and utterly foreign to our human sensibilities. During our time within the confines of this extraordinary underground city, we encountered many individuals belonging to the same enigmatic species as our hostess. However, they maintained a respectful distance from us, observing us with what seemed like a gentle curiosity. Only once did we catch sight of their children, an unusual sight that naturally piqued my maternal instincts. As both a mother and an educator, I felt an instinctual desire to approach these young ones, perhaps with the intent to engage in some form of interaction or exchange of knowledge. However, Ptolemy swiftly dissuaded me from doing so. It became evident that they were intentionally keeping the children away from us, and our hostess's unspoken message was clear. There were boundaries and limitations to the interaction we were allowed to have during our brief stay in their realm. My husband, being ever the pragmatic and responsible one, couldn't help but voice his concern about our yacht during this extraordinary encounter. However, Ptolemy, in her calming presence, assured him that our vessel was well taken care of and would be waiting for us in the same condition when we returned. With this reassurance, he was able to set aside his immediate worries about the yacht. Naturally, he was inquisitive and sought answers to some of the most pressing questions that were undoubtedly on our minds. He wanted to know the purpose of our visit and the origins of our enigmatic hosts. To the former, our hostess provided a response that was as perplexing as it was cryptic. She explained that our experience was merely the beginning, part of a subtle process aimed at integrating their presence into our awareness. It seemed they were orchestrating a gentle introduction, allowing select individuals to glimpse their reality. However, she made it clear that they are in no rush with this project. She said whether it takes 50 years or 5,000 years, it is entirely up to us. Since their civilization has been visiting our world for a very long time, they are patient. They have seen us growing up, but we have much further to go. Yet, when it came to the question of their origin, her response was laden with ambiguity, leaving us with more questions than answers. François described her words as a paradoxical blend, claiming that she conveyed both that they were not from our world and that they were intricately connected to it. It was a contradiction that baffled us, and we struggled to decipher its meaning. Despite his persistence, the conversation seemed to loop in circles, never quite providing the clarity he sought. What made it more interesting was that she later mentioned they do have a homeworld in another star system. We found it all very confusing, though very interesting. Adding to the enigma, our hostess mentioned that we as humans were also from here, but not from here. The ambiguity persisted, casting doubt on the true nature of our existence. As for their mission on our world, it was to keep an eye. She refused to elaborate any further on that. She shared images that vividly portrayed our planet's most destructive capabilities, our nuclear arsenals, and the perpetual specter of war that loomed over humanity. Their concern for our species was evident, and it was a concern that resonated deeply with my husband, as it did with all of us during our inexplicable encounter. Our hostess, through her telepathic communication, didn't shy away from expressing a stark perspective. She stressed that certain concerns that humans often place great importance on, particularly one specific issue that I won't delve into here due to its controversial nature, held little significance in their view. Instead of fixating on these less crucial matters, we should redirect our attention to a far more pressing concern: the nefarious influence wielded by a powerful group of individuals who held sway over our world's affairs. According to her, this influential cadre of humans did not have our best interests, nor those of our planet, at heart, even though they pretend they do. She made it clear she will not give us false hope because they are not going to solve our problems for us. We have to do it ourselves. We are on our own until we let go of our destructive ways. Curious and eager to understand more about their society, I inquired about the most significant difference between their way of life and ours. Our hostess's response was nothing short of enlightening. She explained that their society had transcended the turmoil of war and serious conflicts, and even mild interpersonal disputes were exceptionally rare occurrences. The key, she conveyed, lay in their ability to telepathically connect with one another. Through this profound connection, they experienced not only their own emotions, but also the emotions of those around them. This empathic link made them acutely aware of the pain and suffering of others, fostering a deep sense of compassion and empathy that deterred them from causing harm. When I pressed further about the nature of telepathy, our hostess elucidated that it was an ability that evolved through spiritual practice and growth. She made it clear that any artificial attempts to access people's thoughts or feelings will only lead to suffering and must never be attempted. She proposed that the most effective way for humans to counter their internal threats is through elevated spiritual awareness. According to her, the majority of us are unable to perceive the truth, and she emphasized the need for us to open our eyes. She mentioned that she chose our family because we see the world as the majority does. I must admit that some of the information she shared was profoundly enlightening and, at the same time, unsettling. It took us some time to come to terms with the fact that our entire worldview was flawed. This adjustment was particularly challenging for our son, as it set him apart from the beliefs of his friends. There were many more details she shared with us, but I'm hesitant to put them in writing. As an art teacher, I couldn't help but inquire about the lack of traditional art or decorations in their physical spaces, aside from plants and water features. She explained that they have fundamentally different interpretations of art and aesthetics. To illustrate this, she shared a telepathic image of their art with me. However, it was utterly incomprehensible to my human mind. I don't even know how to explain what I saw. She clarified that their art exists on a purely conscious level, and at a level of abstraction beyond the mental capacity of humans. Throughout the entire experience, she exuded friendliness and radiated an aura of calmness and caring towards us. We never felt threatened during our encounter. I distinctly recall us being led to a room as they gradually dimmed the lights in the colony. It was a space designed for rest, featuring 3 beds of similar soothing organic shapes found in everything else throughout their environment. Given what we experienced and the environment we found ourselves in, it was unimaginable that we would be able to sleep. Yet, I remember each one of us sitting down on a bed and Talmi saying, "Sleep well," and that is where our recollection of the encounter ends. Waking up the next morning was almost as much a shock as when we encountered Talmi the first time. When we awakened, we found ourselves in our beds in our yacht, as if nothing strange had happened. I never thought I'd find it disturbing to wake up in my own bed. I understand that our story may sound unbelievably surreal, as it does even for us. The profound impact of this experience has left an indelible mark on our lives. While my son rarely speaks about it, the transformation in him is evident. He has become more grounded, and our values as a family have undergone a significant shift. My husband and I frequently discuss the event, but until now, we've only shared it with our closest friends. We feel that platforms like this one provide the opportunity to share our story as our hostess may have intended. While we're open to sharing our experience, we prefer not to be publicly identified. However, there is another profoundly unsettling aspect of this entire ordeal that I've deliberately saved for last. When we ascended to the deck the morning after our alien encounter and found ourselves back on the yacht, we were met with a shocking revelation. Our yacht was moored in the exact same berthing space where we had left it on the morning of the 25th, before our inexplicable experience. It was as though we had never left the marina. What made this revelation even more disturbing was when my husband powered up his laptop. The clock displayed 8 a.m. on the very morning of the 25th of December, Christmas morning. It was precisely 3 hours before our scheduled departure time on a day that had already transpired, not to mention all the strange adventures that had followed. We were utterly bewildered. All three of us remembered the sequence of events, and all three of us were firmly convinced that we had been away for approximately 36 hours, a reality corroborated by my husband's wristwatch. It was as if everything I've shared with you in this letter had never occurred, yet all three of us remain resolutely convinced that it did indeed happen. This single confounding aspect of our experience left us deeply disturbed. In response, we decided to abandon our planned journey eastwards to the French Polynesian Islands. Instead, we charted a course in a southwesterly direction, heading towards the Indonesian archipelago, seeking solace and answers in new horizons. Sincerely, Colette. Thank you for following Colette's story. If you found it intriguing or have any questions, please leave a comment. Please like this video and consider subscribing to our channel. Your engagement helps us share more extraordinary experiences and stories like this one.